NBC News has just confirmed that actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner has died at the age of 54. Authorities in Costa Rica telling NBC News that Warner accidentally drowned while swimming in the ocean on Sunday. Warner is best known for, of course, his Emmy-nominated role as Theo Huxtable, Cliff's son, on The Cosby Show.
Malcolm-Jamal Warner is gone, but something about the way he died doesn't feel right. A beloved actor, a sudden death, and a trail of unanswered questions fans are now asking, was this really natural causes? Because just days before his passing, he made a chilling post that's now gone viral. People everywhere are wondering if this was really just a tragedy or something far more disturbing. The silence from his family and the mystery around his final days have only made things worse. Now, social media is flooded with grief, fear, and theories. Something just doesn't sit right. Malcolm-Jamal Warner wasn't just a TV star. He was a living legend. Everyone remembers him as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, but he had a long and powerful career beyond that. From poetry to music to directing, he inspired millions. So when the news broke that he had died, fans were completely shaken. But what made people truly uncomfortable was how the news came out. There was no public statement from the family at first. No medical report. It leaked online, spreading from fan pages to news sites within hours. And still, no one said how he died. That alone made people start asking questions. Malcolm wasn't old. He wasn't sick. In fact, he had just landed a major new project and was telling people he finally felt hopeful again. Days later, he was gone. And the silence around it? It felt like a cover-up. Then came the Instagram post. Just 3 days before his death, Malcolm shared a short, strange message. It read, "Not everything you lose is a loss. Some goodbyes save your life." At first, people thought he was talking about a breakup, maybe a new chapter. But now that he's gone, that message hits completely different. Fans are rereading it again and again, searching for clues. Did he know something was coming? Was he afraid for his life? Some fans believe it was a cry for help disguised as poetry. One even said they noticed Malcolm tearing up during a recent podcast interview, whispering. Over the past year, Malcolm had been keeping his distance from the Hollywood spotlight. He wasn't showing up to award shows or parties. People thought maybe he was just working or focusing on his music. But now, stories are coming out that maybe he was scared. A celebrity stylist recently claimed, anonymously, that Malcolm always seemed on edge. She said he would constantly check behind him and avoid crowded places. Some even say he was writing a tell-all book, one that could have exposed some very powerful people in the industry. That book has now mysteriously vanished from online mentions. No title, no preview, nothing. Some fans believe it was buried. Or worse, stolen and destroyed before he could finish it. The people closest to him have been oddly quiet. His family issued a short, cold statement asking for privacy. No mention of how he died. No words about what he meant to them. But the one post that hit fans hardest came from a close friend and former co-star. It read, "I wish you had told someone. We could have helped." That one line broke hearts. What was Malcolm going through that no one knew about? What was he hiding? Even more disturbing, some say his family is also afraid. That's why they aren't saying anything. One of his exes reportedly fainted when she heard the news and had to be hospitalized. The grief was that deep. But so was the fear. And that says a lot. The internet is in full investigation mode. Reddit forums have thousands of comments digging through his final days. TikTok creators are connecting dots, breaking down his last interviews, comparing old clips for hidden meanings. Some people are convinced this was a hit, some kind of punishment. Theories range from industry beef to something darker, like a secret group trying to silence him. Others say it could have been someone from his past, like a former manager he sued. And then there's the wildest claim that his home was broken into the week before he died, but nothing was ever taken and no report was. Now the fans want answers. A petition calling for a second autopsy has already passed 100,000 signatures in just 2 days. The people are serious. They want proof. His longtime lawyer, who stayed out of the spotlight for years, suddenly broke his silence. He said, "The facts don't add up." That one sentence has the whole internet buzzing. Was something covered up? Are there people trying to erase Malcolm's truth? The pain is deep, but the demand for justice is louder. This is no longer just about a lost actor. This is about truth. This is about making sure that if something evil did happen, it doesn't stay hidden. If you think this story deserves more attention, hit that like button and share this video. Drop a comment below. What do you believe really happened to Malcolm-Jamal Warner? Was it a tragic natural death or something darker? Subscribe if you want more updates, because this story is far from over. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was the kind of man whose presence you could feel even if he wasn't saying a word. He carried history on his back, pride in his heart, and talent running through every breath. Most people remember him as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, the funny, smart, sometimes rebellious teenage son who charmed America every week. But Malcolm wasn't just a child star who faded away. He evolved into a respected director, musician, and speaker. That's why when the news of his sudden death started to circulate, it didn't just hit fans, it shook the entire entertainment industry. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel right. Because a man with that kind of legacy doesn't just vanish. Especially not when there were no signs. No warnings. No final goodbyes. The news first came out through gossip sites. People thought it was just another hoax at first, one of those cruel rumors that randomly target celebrities. But then came the confirmation. Quietly. No big press release. No heartfelt message from a publicist. Just whispers growing louder and louder until it became FAC. Malcolm wasn't known to be sick. He hadn't been battling any public illness, hadn't disappeared from the public eye for any worrying reasons. In fact, it was the opposite. He had just signed on to a new project that he was excited about, something that was supposed to mark a new chapter in his career. He told a close friend just a few weeks before, "I feel like I'm finally in a good place." Those words would now haunt everyone who loved him. How could a man who was smiling, thriving, and planning for the future suddenly end up dead in his home, alone, and then, like a puzzle piece falling into place too late, fans remembered something. Just 3 days before he passed, Malcolm had posted a strange message on Instagram. The post read, "Not everything you lose is a loss. Some goodbyes save your life." At the time, people thought maybe he was talking about a breakup or letting go of some toxic situation. But now, in the chilling light of his death, that quote took on a darker tone. People started digging, reading it over and over again. What did he mean? Was he saying goodbye? Was this some kind of warning? Or worse, was he being threatened? The comment section under that post quickly turned into a storm of concern, theories, and heartbreak. One person claimed they saw him tearing up in a podcast interview just a month earlier. He looked scared, they said, like someone who was trying to say something but couldn't. Others started pointing out how, over the last year, Malcolm had been pulling away from Hollywood. He wasn't showing up to events. He was skipping red carpets. He stopped doing interviews. People assumed he was just tired of the spotlight. But now, it felt like he might have been hiding. Or being watched. A former stylist who worked with him, who asked to remain anonymous, spoke up on a Reddit thread. They claimed Malcolm often mentioned feeling uneasy. He used to say he had eyes on him, they wrote. He'd look over his shoulder, even in safe places. I didn't. His family released a vague statement saying, "We ask for privacy and peace." No specific details. No answers. But what rattled fans most was a message from his longtime friend and co-star who posted online, "I wish you had told someone. We could have helped." Those words stopped people in their tracks. Told someone what? What was Malcolm carrying alone? Did his family know more than they were saying? Why did everything feel so hush-hush? Things escalated even more when an ex-girlfriend of Malcolm's reportedly fainted after hearing the news and had to be hospitalized. Those closest to him weren't just shocked, they were devastated, confused, and completely blindsided. The silence around his death wasn't bringing peace, it was raising even more questions. Why were so many people close to him acting like there was something more behind it? Then came the internet theories. Reddit threads exploded with speculation. YouTube videos broke down every detail, his last interviews, his social media, even his body language. TikTok creators started making timelines. One popular theory? Malcolm had refused something powerful. People said he rejected secret deals, maybe even turned down someone influential. The word Illuminati started getting tossed around. Others pointed to a legal dispute he had with a former manager, saying there was bad blood and unresolved money issues. There was even a story about a break-in at Malcolm's home just days before he died, but no police report was ever filed, and no details were released. Was it a coincidence? Or was it a sign something was going on behind closed doors? One guest on a popular podcast said flat out, he was silenced. That man didn't just drop dead. Something happened. Now, the public is demanding answers. A petition calling for an independent autopsy gained over 100,000 signatures in less than 2 days. Malcolm's lawyer, who hadn't spoken publicly in years, came forward saying, the facts don't add up. And that's the truth. A week before his passing, Malcolm appeared on a podcast where listeners say he didn't seem like himself. A caller remembered him saying, "They don't want me here anymore," before the host quickly changed the subject. That line, "they" has stuck with people. Who didn't want him here? Who was he referring to? Was it Hollywood? Was it someone in his personal life? Was it bigger than that? Some think he was being watched. Others think he had enemies in powerful places. The more people dig, the more questions they find. Over the past year, Malcolm had become more reclusive. He stopped showing up at industry events. He wasn't seen at premieres or panels. Some thought he was just enjoying a quieter life. But insiders say there's more to the story. A stylist who worked with him on a shoot claimed anonymously that Malcolm was paranoid. He kept looking over his shoulder, the stylist said, like he was being followed. Another crew member from that day said Malcolm asked not to be photographed from certain angles. Like he didn't want someone to recognize him. There were rumors that he was writing a tell-all book, one that would expose secrets in the industry. Secrets people didn't want out. That book? It's gone. Scrubbed from every listing online. A publisher who had it on their "coming soon" page now has no record of it. Gone without a trace. Fans are wondering, was he silenced before he could speak? Was someone afraid of what he was about to reveal? His family's statement after his death only added to the confusion. "We ask for privacy and peace during this time." That's all they said. No details. No mention of how he died. No funeral information. Just silence. One of his former co-stars posted something that broke hearts across the internet. "I wish you had told someone. We could have helped." That line shook everyone. Told someone what? What was Malcolm going through that he didn't feel safe sharing? Some say the family knows more than they're saying. That they're scared. Oh. Malcolm-Jamal Warner is gone. But something about the way he died doesn't feel right. It didn't hit the news like other celebrity deaths do. There was no wave of statements from networks, no big announcement from his publicist, and no televised memorial. Just a quiet leak online, a whisper that spread like wildfire. At first, fans thought it was a cruel hoax. But then it was confirmed. And suddenly, the world stopped. One of the most beloved black actors of his generation was gone. Just like that. But something about it just doesn't sit right. Malcolm wasn't just some actor who faded out after one show. He was a cornerstone of black television history. His role on The Cosby Show made him a household name, but he never let that define him. He continued to work, grow, create. He directed, produced, and even released spoken word poetry that touched people deeply. He wasn't caught up in scandals. He lived low-key with intention. So, when the news came that he had passed away unexpectedly, without warning, it felt unreal. And what made it even harder to believe was that he had just signed a new project. He was back. And he told a friend recently, "I feel like I'm finally